Shalom. For the first, we'll give our praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh. For Hashem Yahushai. For Hashem Havakakodah, Barak Thumb. Double honor to your apostles, the elders of the great millstone, and to the audience across the globe. Pushing the word truth and city, want to say Shalom. So I now from the great millstone camp of Cleveland. We just hit the button. This is Matthew 24:6. Ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And as we're starting to hear, we're starting to see, or we're seeing, not starting to see, we're seeing more talk of this war increasing. DJ Trump, all right, because he ain't do what he said he's gonna do. All right, to Iran. We're hearing that the talks of invasions, the talks of leaving Iran desolate, and other countries getting into this war, because this is a world war. There are many nations that are involved. They're on the front lines. They're supplying missiles and logistics and intel to Iran to help fight off that tyrannical army of Israel, which we call America. All right, in their armies. All right, but this is things that must happen. Man, this is prophecy. All right, and that's one thing that these people hate, is that they don't want to talk about the prophecies, man. All right, World War III is here. All right, and there's only a few things left to be implemented, before the Lord come back, and mainly the MOTB. You're seeing this the back and forth between the leaders of said countries, all right, posturing and threatening and boasting of what each side can and can't do. But this is something that has been waited upon, all right, from the men of the Lord. All right, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows, man. All right, and we're seeing that. I know we, here at Great Millstone, and being a prophet, we be beating the dead horse. All right, and these are times that we've been anxious to see. These are the times we've been patiently waiting for, man. All right, and these wars are going to create a scarcity of food, diseases. All right, and you're going to start seeing supernatural or unnatural occurrences in the weather. All right, in the earth. All right, as the Lord appears, as the Lord's appearing becomes closer and closer. All right, but just know that these are the beginning, man. All right, because we got to go to, these are the beginning of sorrows. Let's get this real quick. Second address, 4. And I'm starting, I'm starting 6, the 26. Second address 4 and 26. Then answered he me and said, the more thou searchest, the more thou shalt marvel. For the world hasteth fast pass away, right, man? Because the earth is languishing, man. It's mourning. All right, this man who we have set in charge, Esau Edom, who the Lord has set in charge, is destroying the earth so much that the animals are crying out. All right, the other nations are crying out. All right, so when the righteous are in authority, when the wicked are in authority, the people mourn. All right, the word of mourning is language. Let's get this real quick. The earth language. It says Isaiah 24:4. It says, the earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The hardy people of the earth do languish, man. All right, and that's what's going on. People are sighing and crying. They're a title of tyrannical rule. These Edomites, man. All right, it said the earth also defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, and broken the everlasting covenant. All right, and the earth is defiled, man. All right, who's the defiler of the earth? You damn small hats, man. All right, you know them circle hats. You know, and they've created, turned the Lord's beautiful masterpiece, all right, into a awful painting, man. All right, that has become an eyesore, all right, to the world. You know, you got garbage floating around our seas. You got our dolphins are being beached, and they're being and our sharks crashing into vessels and mountains, all right, because of the distortion of the senses through the sonar of their ships. All right, whales and sea creatures are beaching themselves from the pollution of the water. All right, and this is all because of the wicked ruler, man. All right, so therefore have the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. All right, because that curse on the earth is going to be these missiles, man. All right, and you got various talks of missiles being used. All right, the when you hear the words nuclear missiles, all right, everybody's ears perk up. All right, as they're being threatened with the very existence, all right, upon this land, man. Okay, it says the inhabitants of the earth are burned and few men left, right? Because when those missiles are shot off, all right, the ICBM nuclear missiles, all right, like the Iran got a missile called the Illuminati and Great Satan. All right, these missiles are destined, all right, designed, all right, to wipe out entire states, entire zones. All right, and only the elect are going to be saved. All right, and the Edomites that do survive this, they're going straight into captivity. All right, this is all through the power of Yahweh Shemi Shai. Okay, back in our second address. And it reads, it says, but concerning the thing where thou askest me, I will tell thee, the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come, man. Right? Because there's other prophecies that got to be fulfilled. All right, the mark of the beast is mainly the main one that we're waiting for. All right, and the parameters, the system is already in place. You know, I was talking to somebody here about the ICE agents being deployed at the airports. Well, there's been reports of these ICE agents reporting and detaining people, taking IDs, okay, searching for so-called illegal immigrants, man. All right, but we have to have this famine. All right, the famine of the word has to come. All right, the mark of the beast has to come. All right, it says, therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good, man. All right, so these are the beginning of sorrow. These things must happen. All right, these things must happen in order for the kingdom of Yahweh Shemi Shai to reign on the earth with the Israelites in authority, man. All right, everybody wants to enjoy the kingdom, which is only set for the Israelites, the 12 tribes, namely the Native Americans and Latinos and the Negroes. All right, but nobody wants to go through the pains, the sorrows, the travail that are coming with that, and that goes out to you 2/3, man. You so-called Christians, man. All right, this rulership, this Edomite, all right, has to be taken out of power. Okay, let's get this. It's Hebrews 6:9. It says Start at 8. Uh, start at 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? All right, and what are the part of the son of the times? It said, measure thou the times diligently. All right, and we are measuring the times, and the times are telling us that we are at the end of Esau's kingdom, man. All right, we're at the end of the of oppression. All right, we're at the end of sorrow. We're at the end of being mocked and being ridiculed and being evil spoken against, man. Being persecuted. All right, having injustice be a part of our normal everyday existence up under this rule. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob held first the hail of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, man. All right, so we're in between, so we're in the middle. All right, Esau is the end, and Jacob is the beginning, man. All right, so the world must end. All right, Esau must be brought down in order for Jacob and his brethren, all right, of the 12 tribes, all right, to rule in righteousness, man. All right, says the hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other questions, others ask thou not, man. All right, so we are able to tell the tale, all right, of the end because we see it. This is something that is destined to be, like the brother Maad said yesterday. He said, oh man, it just escaped me. He said, these things have already been done. The prophecies, these things already happened. We're just catching up to the Lord's time, so to speak. All right, it's been written that these things are going to happen, so it's been happening already. All right, it says, "I will be done on earth as it is in heaven." So these things already has happened. All right, and we're waiting for the fruition of it to play out here on earth. All right. So with that, I want to say, call Allah, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Nabana, the Apostle, and the elders of the Great Millstone. Until next time, Shalom and Abba Ba.